you are somebody who is very new to SLP, but you are supposed to give a presentation in front of a client, being in a consultancy, you would always get the presentations. I mean, different features of SLP, what is request, what is registration, qualification, and all of that. But if you really wanted to deal with the project in peace, it is important for you to frame certain set of questions when you're in a workshop. So workshop is not only about giving presentations, talking about technical jargons, which will actually be negative if you be very technical because client doesn't understand. But on a simplistic terms, it is very important for you to ask some couple of questions so that you get to know how client operate. So I prepared, couple of questions where we can discuss now, where you can ask the client so to better understand the actual scenario. So what is that? So especially for SLP, the first and main important question what you're supposed to ask is what is the supplier base? So mostly if the client is from maybe Switzerland, most of the suppliers will be from Switzerland. Maybe not. Like, but the 60% of the chances are from the head office. Most of the times they choose, or maybe the suppliers are present in the same country. You can assume, but you can ask, and what is the supplier base? What countries they operate, and things like that. Why it is important? It is important, for example, if most of the suppliers are from Switzerland, then the time zone would be Zurich, Europe, Zurich. And then the time zone of the RFP would be also Europe. And then when you load the contacts data, supplier contacts data, the time zone of the supplier contact should be Zurich. This is one of the example. So it is on a simplistic terms, it is very important for you to understand which country base is the supplier from, and does the supplier know what is Ariba? Why it is important for you to understand that? Because if the supplier knows Ariba well, when there is an issue, there is an issue, and when you talk to the supplier, he would be really cooperative. So, for you to just understand what would be the future, it is very important for you to know what is the supplier base. And the second thing, what are the connected systems? So, get to know if there is an S4 HANA existing, or maybe SAP ECC existing, or maybe any third party tools existing, maybe like EBX, maybe an MDM tool. So, what are the different tools which are existing, which are especially connected to SLP? So, if the supplier data is already present in SAP ECC or S4 HANA, make sure you see the data, you understand what kind of data for the supplier is being maintained. Is it needs to be cleansed? Does it fits the Ariba landscape? Maybe the supplier number base is correct or not. So these kind of things. There are so many things around it, but it is very important for you to fundamentally understand what are the connected systems. And third thing, does the client have an MDM system? So when it comes to SLP, it's very important for you to understand if there is a master data system. Why master data system is very important? Because when the supplier is created in Ariba, it goes always to an MDM system if it is connected, maybe to check the duplicacy, to enrich the data. Okay, what is enriching the data? Supplier records get created in Ariba, it gets registered in Ariba, and when it goes to the MDM system, what happens? In MDM system, maybe MDM system might add a purchasing data. MDM system might add maybe partner function. So These kind of data, additional data, will be added in the MDM system and will be passed to maybe S4 HANA and all. There can be a process flow like that. Supplier data can be created in Ariba, it goes to MDM or maybe EBX or maybe TIPCO VX tool, and then it goes to S4 HANA. So things like that. And fourth, does client have an onboarding team? I mean, if you're an SLP consultant, the set of people, the first set of people whom you're going to work with is an onboarding team. So the quick tip is if onboarding team is very intellectual, maybe they know what they do, then you have less work. If they don't know what they are doing, then you have more work. So who is onboarding team? Onboarding team is nothing but, most of the times, let's say the supplier is from Switzerland, then these are the people who will definitely have knowledge of maybe Swiss German or maybe German. This, and then they start talking to the supplier in German language. If the most of the supplier base is in German, make him register, talk to the supplier if there are any issues with him, maybe in understanding the form, if there are any errors during the form, they will talk to the supplier. And if they cannot resolve it, if there's a technical issue, then they'll come back to you. So it is very important that if they have good knowledge, then you have less work. And fifth point, supplier enablement. Okay, in SLP, you have Ariba SLP, you know, interface, and then there is something else called Ariba Supplier Network, where the suppliers, the TRR relationship happens, meaning the supplier account is connected to Ariba network, our Ariba buyer network account. We just set our rules saying that maybe we just want to transact only with the purchase orders, maybe with the invoices and all, and supplier will accept our conditions. So these sort of enablement activities also will be sometimes done by the onboarding team. And as a consultant, it depends again. You might involve in the process or you might not involve on the process based on the onboarding team's knowledge. So in supplier enablement part as well, how is the process? Meaning who is going to handle it? Are you going to handle it? Or are you going to partially handle it? Or are you going to handle along with them? So these kind of questions are important. And then what are the different modules, you know, client wants to have or maybe already have from Ariba? Because it is very important for you to know, because is it like, are you going to configure only source to pay or order to pay? It is sometimes very important for you to know these little questions so that you can, you know, better configure the system. So like that, I mean, I can write thousands of questions here, but always remember that you prepare at least 20 to 25 questions when you're sitting in front of client. Ask him as much as you can before starting the project so that during the configuration it gets easier. And of course, when it comes to the template configuration, you ask so many questions like, um, you know, what do you want to put on the template? How do you want the supplier request form to be there? Okay, do you want the bank data to be enriched in maybe MDM system or not, or maybe in Ariba alone? So these kind of things. Just remember, if you're an SLP consultant, apart from the standard presentation, maybe you can get it from the Ariba Connect as well. Apart from that, prepare these kind of questions and discuss with the client. Thank you.